Welcome back, it's your boy the Canologist. We're going to be doing another episode of Leetcode and OSRS AFK training. You can see this on my channel. Let's go to it. The Canologist, Leetcode and OSRS AFK training. And then if you guys look at my actual channel page, it's the Canologist. You guys can see me there. I also have videos on mobile development, app development, Arduino, anything with software related kind of content you'll see on this account. I also do a bunch of Leetcode as well. I'm just going to be rushing through these because I'm just trying to hit my quantity goal. I don't really care about how well it's solved or how much it's solved. The whole goal with this is just to bang out as many questions as I can. I'm going to be trying to do, that didn't come out right. I'm going to try to do as many as I can in the time limit here, which is 12 minutes for a Leetcode pretty much. 12 to 15 minutes. Then I'm going to stick it into ChatGPT and try and solve it like that. So yeah, let's do another one. We'll be doing Python 3. Count at say sequence is a sequence of digit strings defined by recursive formula. Count at say 1. Count at say 1 is the string 1. I don't know why my throat's like clogged up. I think it's allergies or some shit. My English is getting bad too. I think I need to sleep. But basically, run length encoding is a string compression method that works by replacing consecutive identical characters repeated 2 or more times with the concatenation of the character and the number marking the count of the character's length of the run. For example, to compress the string 32251, we replace 33 with 23, 222 with 32, and 5 with 15. Okay, so it's basically counting the integer based on the count and the integer. So if you have 555, that's 3 5s basically. Thus, the compressed string becomes 23 32 1511. Give it a positive integer and return the nth element of the count and say. Okay, so the input is 4. The output is 1 2 and 2 1 2 1 1. Okay, so each one counts as a compressed, maybe? Counted, say 1. Okay. Counted, say 2, RLE of 1, 1. Counted, say 3. RLE of 1, 1. Okay, this part is kind of weird. Counted, say 4, RLE of 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Unless, of course, it's being read this way, and then this way, and then this way. One, 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 2, 1. That's a very strange way to my understanding of this is really weird. Count and say sequence. Count and say sequence is a sequence of digit strings defined by a recursive formula. Or like half my time is going to be to understanding this. Count and say 1. 1. Count and say n is the run length encoding of count and say n minus 1. Lossless data compression, which runs of data, consecutive occurrences of the same data value are stored as a single occurrence of that value, an account of its consecutive occurrences rather than as the original run. Sequence green, green, whatever. You short to green times 9. I get that. So if it's just whatever the amount of the occurrence is, you're just saying amount times occurrence. So 3 3 is 2 3s. 4 2s is 4 2s. So 2 2 2 2 2 is 5 2s. But I don't know what else they want us to do with this. It's not very clear. Given a positive integer, return the nth element of the count, let's say sequence. What does that mean? So basically the constraint is n could be 1 to 30. Okay, could you solve it iteratively? We have to do some sort of recursion to do this. Other hints? Create a helper function that maps integer to pairs of its digits and their frequencies. So create some sort of frequency counter. I guess frequency counter, so I can go collections. Yep, that's the one. Import collections, frequency counter. Find the frequencies of characters. So we can get our freak on. So Geek for Geeks basically does frequency counter. I think collections has one built in. Yeah, from collections import counter. Then freak counter is this, and then you get the counts of each one. So basically we want some sort of a frequency counter. So let's go def. Actually, we don't even need a helper function. We could just use the built-in collections class. How do you import? So from collections import counter. Okay, cool. So it's kind of the opposite of JavaScript. And then it would just be counter S. So frequencies get stored in a dictionary basically of all the counts. And that's what happens if you print it. So what I would do next is I would go counter and so now I have a dictionary with the frequencies, and then I can typecast this dictionary to a list. Bro, logging into these fucking accounts is so annoying. It's extremely annoying. It's like, okay. I could just go list on my dictionary. Dict to array. Values to array. I'm wondering if I could pass all information of a dictionary into array. So let's use ChatGPT. I'm just curious. This is me just trying to master Python. This is just a sign to take another dose. Oh fuck, I closed the Leetcode question. This is so annoying, bro. Like, this is so fucking annoying. I hate when this shit happens. Yeah, okay, so log in. Why do I have to log in every fucking time? So annoying. Okay, so get this, and then burning clause, all this. Okay, so basically, Control V. What is the simplest? List counter items, and then print pairs. Okay, so that's a list comprehension. So list item, basically for item and counter items. Okay. So I basically do run a list comprehension on here. In order to get these arrays that the hint has, maps it to an array of pairs. I could also just do a for loop, but the frequency counter is faster. Then I do a list comprehension. List comprehension Python. Syntax. Expression for item in iterable if condition. So expression, I want to turn each item of the list, which is a dictionary entry, key value pair, I want to turn that into a list. So turn this into a list. Expression for item in iterable in counter.items gives you tuples like this, okay? And you're basically saying list item for each item. So counter items gives you basically a list of tuples. And then you're saying take this whole object, put it in an array, and then take all the items from this object and then create a list out of it. So basically that's why you're doing brackets at the top level. Square brackets at the top level because you're taking a list and you're filling it with items, so all the tuples typecasted into lists. So that's basically it. Well, then now what? Return the nth element of the count at say sequence. Okay. So if it's n, like what exactly am I returning? So output is 1211. Okay, what's the second hint? Let's try this. Create another helper function that takes the array of pairs and creates a new integer. For example, if you call this function with 2, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 4, 5, it should create. Okay, so we're taking a master string, so generate final string. Oh, the number and the count. Okay. Count string. That kind of makes sense to me. So basically I take in an array. We can go outputs. For I list, so basically go through each item of the list. I hope it doesn't order the dictionary. I don't know why my words are slurring. I think it's because I have to censor what I normally say, like from swearing and stuff. I don't want to swear a lot, so my brain's like trying to filter out the swearing while I'm like talking. Otherwise I'd be like, yo, fuck all this. But like, yeah, that's part of life, you know. Sometimes you just gotta adapt. But now I sound like a moron because it's not clear. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. 2, 2, 2, 3. Okay, so basically substring, and then I'll go I1, that's the value, and then you go value key, because it's the count and then the key, count and key, so it's 5 fours, right? Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So count, and then key. So basically we're doing that here. So for everything we take the count and key, then we take the substring and add it to the output string. And then it starts it again for the next one, the next pair, the next pair, the next pair. So this one will be 2 2, 2 3, 1 1, 5 4, 1 2, and then that's basically here 1 1. So 2 2, 3 2, 1 1, 5 4 5, and then 1 2. These are the pairs, but look here, 2 2, 2 3, 1 1. It's everything backwards because you get the count and then the key associated. So the key is basically what am I looking for and the count. What am I looking for in the count? And then I append that in string. Then I want to return the string. Not gonna lie, I really want fries. So basically what I'm going to do next is, now that I have everything, I'm going to go count string or outputs str equals. So now I could just take that and then I'm going to return my function value. So it's just going to be count string. And then the LST is going to be freak list. Now with the two helper functions, you can start with one and call the two functions alternatively n-1 times. The answer is the last integer you will obtain. Okay, I'll take another dose. I'm almost at 70 defense. Once I get that, I'm going to call it for the day and then take some rest. But it's saying to take two of these and call the functions independently. So I can say count string, that's one, and then freak list. Self freak list, and then it just takes n. So basically based on this value, you can just extrapolate from here. Now basically return You can start with one and call the two functions alternatively n-1 times. The answer is the last integer you will obtain. So one's count string. So freq list. I forgot to restart the timer. But essentially, yeah, we're near half an hour, so freq list would be, I guess, n-1. Such a weird question. The last is the last integer, so the answer is the last integer you will obtain. Okay, how do I do this? Freq list calls freq list, and all I do is just feed it n, and it should spit out a frequency list, and then this will spit out a function. So right now, if I have this, I'm going to go def, and then define it outside. And that way I could just call it as is anonymously. I don't have to wait for any other function call. Self n is an integer. Then I get a list output. Why does this keep happening to me? Why? Why does this keep happening to me? Tell me my progress isn't gone. Okay. So that's basically it, and then okay, so technically it'd be return, and then it would be returning if we go by the hint, we're returning the n-1. Call the two functions alternatively n-1 times. Count and say n-1. So I guess it would keep calling this. I'm not sure what it would return, because there has to be some sort of like, what would n be? Let's stick this in the ChatGPT and find out. Oh no, it's already here. I pretty much did everything it said. So I'm not sure, I'm still not sure what it's trying to ask me though. It's not very clear. So let's put this here. Like what specifically is it looking for? Freak list. Count frequency list, count string, n. I don't even know at this point. Using counter n, which counts all characters in the string but doesn't preserve the run length structure, which should be read as 2 3s, 2 3, then 3 2s. Yeah, but the counter of this gives you thing, it ignores adjacency. But counter ignores order and adjacency. Okay. But you're calling them like instant methods with self. Get a frequency like grouping of digits, then convert those groups into new string count plus digit. You try to modularize logic with helper functions, freak list for grouping. So everything's wrong. Use a loop to group adjacent same digits, not total counts. Oh, okay, because the frequency list just gets the count, not adjacent same digits. Okay, that's fair. Based on the examples they showed, it wasn't so unclear. So what does this have? We got about 3 minutes. But what does it say? Count and say self result equals 1 for blank in range n-1 result self dot next result. Count and say. So it creates an output string I equals 1. Output. I equals 0 while length is less than s. Okay. So it's going to the end of the string, count 1. So count is what actually increments. While I plus 1 is less than length of s, yeah, because it's going to n-1 elements. And s at I equals s at I plus 1, I plus 1 equals count. Okay. Well, I equals 0. Oh, we just assumed the count of any letters already 1. And then we just increment I. And then if I plus 1 equals I, so the next element, if that equals I plus 1. Oh, because it's starting at 1. Okay, it's 1 index to count. And then outputs str count plus s at I. S at I is the actual value, the digit, and then now you're taking the count and you're making it a string. S at I is already a string digit, and you're going string count, so the output is whatever the count is and the string of the type. Makes sense. So you're basically doing the dictionary list comprehension thing manually and getting the counts. Next term. Okay, so result equals 1. Oh, and then in order to call this function from within, you have to go self dot next term. So it's the same as saying this, but they use self. Oh, and then in range n minus 1. So it's not a true recursion, but it's pretty close. Pretty darn close. Okay, so basically it is that. So result equals 1. Start with output 1. And if it's just that, then you return it. If not, result equals dot next term. So if it equals 2, n minus 1. Fair enough. I'll take that as an answer. And we will end off here. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below. Currently I'm at 69 defense, 50k left to go. I'm just training. It's my way of stacking training, so I can train Leetcode, RuneScape at the same time. I'm just going to try and do as many of these as I can, and then yeah, get used to reading code and understanding different techniques in Python after not using it for about 4 or 5 months now. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Knologist out.